Alright, welcome. Buck don't know shit. Today we get to look, I got heads. I've got a radiator. I've got intake ready to go. Got an engine that is clean and painted and ready to be put back together. So that's what we're gonna start doing today, over the next few days. Putting the engine back together. I am still missing an oil pan, so there is still some work to be done. But as far as everything else goes, I can start putting this puppy back together. So that is the plan. Engine build. First time, Thunderbird, 1965. First time really any engine besides a 4-cylinder out of a Suzu Hombre, but yeah, and that one did work. It did work. Didn't run real well. I think the timing was off. I didn't know anything about that, but anyway, it did get me down the road and back. So that's what I'm hoping happens here. I do know a little more now than I did then, and I have YouTube now. Didn't have it then. I don't think it existed. No, it didn't exist then. The internet was a thing, but yeah, like it was pretty terrible. So definitely couldn't have Googled. I don't even know if Google existed. This would have been like 99. I guess Google existed, but you couldn't have looked up how to rebuild an Isuzu Hombre engine and found like 1,000 different things telling you how to do it. No way. You might have found some weirdo like me that had worked on one and wrote some like blog in some obscure, place on the internet. But engine build, we are gonna get started today. I am out here early putting paint on, so I'm just gonna give it a couple hours to dry. I'm not really gonna let it cure. Probably should, but they're just heads. It's not that big of a deal. So I've got my exhaust painted, which I didn't get any kind of coating on them. So I went ahead and just put high heat primer and high heat black paint, and that's how they're gonna look. We'll see how they hold up over time, but I think they'll be fine. Yeah, everything else is clean, painted, ready to put together. I do think while I am waiting on paint the next couple hours, I'm gonna go ahead and take this bracketry off. I think it's 4 bolts. Pull it all out in one assembly. Just kind of clean it up, but mainly I want to be able to get back in this area, back of the transmission. It's pretty gunky and gummy, and I don't know. It just, everything else looks so clean, and then there's that one spot under there. It's gonna drive me crazy. So let me clean that up and put that back in, and then we will start assembling this car. It's gonna happen. Can't take anything else apart. Well, one more thing. Then I can't take anything else apart. So we're about to get started. Okay, doing my first gasket job on these heads. And I'm just gonna clean these mating surfaces a little bit. So I had the exhaust side of the head machined also. So we are mating 2 machine surfaces together. There was some pitting on this head that he couldn't, especially on this side. This is the driver's side. And I don't think these had ever been taken off. And the old manifold, it was very, very corroded. I don't know that I could have saved the old manifold surfaces because they were bad. It was very rusty, and the gasket material just kind of caked on. But you can probably see in the camera these surfaces right here were too deep to machine. So all we can do is add the gasket maker, and it should seal it up. And there's the sealing area on these is going to be a little further out. You can see below the bolt there, so they will seal plenty of machine surface to seal on. We definitely needed to get this done, or I don't think I would have ever gotten a clean, leak-proof exhaust manifold without doing this. And I'm going to use, I have some anti-seize that I'm going to use on the bolts, just so make someone else's life easier in the future. I'm going to go ahead and cut this fairly big, probably about an 1/8 inch hole there. Now I'm going to apply it to the header surface. And another thing I've done, and this was like this on the passenger side already, but we've just drilled these holes out, and we're going to lock washer and put a nut on the back side. Lock washer and flat washer. All right, let's do this, start assembling it. I think everything is clean. And this isn't a 90-minute. So the instructions on this say, put it on there on one surface, make the surfaces, bolt them up hand tight, and wait an hour and then torque it down. So that is what we're going to do. Couple started in here to hold it in place. Okay, pretty much the same setup here. On the passenger side, I went and got the right hardware, changed it out on my driver's side, and have that setting for the hour. Probably when I get this one mounted, it'll be time to tighten those down, and then we'll start the clock on this one, and come back in an hour and tighten all this down. And then we just have to hope all this fits in the car. That, and probably a smart guy would have bolted these in place and set the headers on the block, you know, without gaskets and done all that, but we've discussed this before. I'm not always the brightest guy in the world, but I do think they will fit. Headers are installed on the heads. And like some people may be like, why are you doing that? And this side I could probably get to. This side on the car, you just can't get a normal socket on these in the car. So it is what it is, you know. You just kind of have to work with what you got. So putting them on first, and hopefully they fit when I go in to install this. So this is next is cleaning up block, the surfaces. I mean, it's clean, but wiping off the grease that I have on it to keep it from rusting. Kind of going over it one last time. All these little surfaces where maybe some paint bled through, hit it with a Scotch-Brite, and maybe a file if it need be. But yeah, so I got a little bit of work to do, clean these up, and then I'll be laying the gasket down, and yeah, that's it. Just wanted to show you what I'm doing here. So these gaskets, they have a front rode on them. They have a rode on both sides, but you can only install these one way, right? Because of the guide pins down here, those holes there. It's pretty dummy proof. You're not gonna mess that up. What I have done here, I went ahead and put some anti-seize on the threads of these bolts, cleaned them up first, anti-seized them, and have bottomed them out in the block. And it's a good thing, I think. There was like some oil and whatever else down in these bolt holes, and a few of them, and it kind of squirted out, got on the block. It just lets me know about where these should be when they bottom out. Now all of these were the same on this side. There were no differences. I did package these, passenger side, driver side, just to make sure I had the bolts going in the same place, more or less. I mean, not the exact bolt hole, but they're on the right side anyway. And I had them labeled upper and lower. I mean, it's pretty obvious which ones are which, but anyway, that's it. So we'll take these out. I'm gonna clean the surface again. The book does say to apply some sealer to both sides, so I'm gonna put a thin coat around the water courses all over it. So, okay, I think I have dicked around all I can dick around. And I cleaned both surfaces that we are about to work on here. Nozzle counterclockwise, 1 to 2 turns. Whoa, shit. What the fuck? Yeah, what they don't tell you, which maybe I should have known, this is taped to the bottle. So when you open this up, that is trigger. The trigger is activated. Let's put it that way when you buy this thing. So take the tape off the trigger before you open this up, or you'll have it everywhere like I just did. All right, there goes nothing. Okay, I'll get the head and moment of truth. See if this thing goes in the car. I'll be interested. Try it again. Take 2. I can do a little modification on the car. It's just the place where this plate over here is stuck out like just a little too much. And of course, I made a big mess of gasket maker and or sealant and all that shit. But I think it'll fit this time. I am going to fit the driver's side before do the gasket, just to make sure no modifications are needed.
One eternity later.
Welcome, Buck don't know shit. Little sad today. I think that's the word. Little, not defeated, but feel a little, little beaten up, maybe. So the reason why, I guess, had some trouble. Thought I was gonna throw these heads on, get all that buttoned up yesterday. You know, I did some cleaning and some different things, prepping to put the heads on. I still had to paint the heads, do some little things. So I knew I wouldn't get the entire engine rebuilt, but definitely thought I would get to the heads, because I probably will show in the video, had some trouble on this passenger side. And I thought it was mostly the headers hitting in the shock tower right in here, and I ground some of this weld down. Well, I guess, anyways, this piece of metal, I just kind of flattened it out, and it looked like it was clearing, and couldn't get it to sit on that back guide pin. Finally, I got one hand free where I could feel around what was happening, and finally, after a long time and lots of sweat, and my legs are sore today from actually being in that squat position so long, holding that header. But it ended up being the starter, right? Big brass plate on top of it, hitting the starter, the headers. So good news is they do have a aftermarket starter that fits these FE engines that is much smaller in size, and it will give me plenty of clearance for the headers. So it's not that I can't continue with the headers. I can on the passenger side. I still haven't tried the driver's side. I'm going to do that this morning. But I think the driver's side will be okay. So it's not that I can't get this to work. It will work. But I don't get the starter until Wednesday, it's Saturday. So now my three options are wait till Wednesday, put the starter in, and then build the heads. Option 2 is to check and see if I can put this starter in with the headers on. And then option 3, which I'll look at this also, if I can't get the starter in, is to put the head on without the header, which I've already gasketed up, and so that would require me taking it off, cleaning up the gasket material, blah blah blah, which is easily done, but just more work. So yeah, I've got a few little things, like I could put on my little gas pedal and shifting linkage brackets back in that I took off yesterday. To do that, got a couple other braces under the car I've taken off that I've painted I could put back on. I've got some stuff I could do, but man, I was really hoping today that I was going to be putting the intake in, putting the valve train, rocker arms, all that assembly back in, putting valve covers on it, putting time and chain on it, you know, getting ready for my oil pan and all that stuff, and really wanted to have this engine put back together by this weekend, and it's not going to happen, and it's depressing because I probably am going to go to work next week, and if I do have to wait till Wednesday, then you know, then that's going to put the engine rebuild off probably a month, so, or more. So kind of, yeah, just a depressing morning. Just got this one bolt holding it in and my guide pins, but it fits. I got plenty of room down here, a 1/4 inch or so. Hopefully my exhaust guy can kind of 90 that down underneath that crossbar. That's not the point of this, is we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But the starter, from what I can tell, I can get to it, all the bolts. Of course, that top one's a bitch. Regardless, you gotta have a long extension, but that's no big deal. And if it doesn't, I go back to the old starter. I can get this off, and I'll just have to get some new exhaust manifolds, stock ones, put on the car. Mine are trash, but I think we will be able to get this worked out. Let me get this other head on the other side. Again, just dry fit, no gaskets in right now. Which this is what I should have done the first time. And man, it was amazing. It just sat right on there like it's supposed to. When you're not setting your header on top of a starter, it just slides right in. So anyway, now I may stick that other starter up in there in a minute. I know it's going to hit, but just to kind of see if there is some way I can modify it. I don't know what's under that brass plate kind of just want to take a hammer and beat it down. This is why people cuss. I see on YouTube, you know, a lot of guys cuss, and I did bang on this header a little bit to flatten that out right there. I will admit, personally, I don't think it's going to hurt anything, and it got me a good 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch clearance doing that. So I'm happy with that. A little modification on my header. That's all I had to do. Nothing, no big deal. But I have seen plenty of YouTube videos where the creators kind of dog on guys for doing stuff like that. Maybe not that particular, but like denting the car itself, trying to make something fit inside the engine bay. And look, you gotta do what you gotta do. And at the end of the day, these are old cars. We're modifying them, trying to make certain improvements. But sometimes there is a reason why things are the way they are. But we know headers make the car breathe better, and it's just more flow. It's better. So if we can make them fit, we're gonna make them fit. That's all there is to it. I am worried about this. It's like they have like this 45 that comes with the kit, and I mean, looking at that, you have like 3-4 inches to that cross member back there that you have to get it down, and then 90 back the other way, which I'm pretty sure they can do. And they could probably make this more of a 90 shape, I would think. But I'm sure whoever I bring this to is going to be cussing me. Oh man, driver's side, no fitment issues whatsoever. Let me get some light on this so you can see. You see my exhaust comes out down there. Looks to me like there is all kinds of room, and I have my tie rod, all, you know, everything's in place down there. There is a crossbar that I don't have in, that's down low, but I don't think that's in the way of anything. See some places I need to paint a little better, but other than that, this fits really well. I can take it off if I need to. This and this were the two that I had trouble with on the old manifold, and they were just so tight. But being able to take that nut off the back of these, and then the bottom ones you can get to, it'll probably be a little harder with these exhausts, but you know, I can get to them with wrenches. So yep, I'm pleasantly pleased, maybe surprised, I don't know. But yeah, this side has no issues whatsoever. So I'm kind of showing this because I've heard people say these FE 390s, their exhaust manifolds are very restricted. So you're like, well, let's put headers on them. But then it's, you know, you run into things like I'm running into over there as soon as you change something from original. And so I'm going through this because I have not seen any videos of people installing headers on a Thunderbird like this. So I've seen some videos with them in it, and that's why I knew it could be done. Did see one guy, he didn't show in his engine bay, he just cranked his car, said the brand of headers that he had. That was pretty much the whole video. So, but I've seen another video where, and this was an actual channel that had quite a few videos, but they didn't go into how they installed them and the issues they ran into. They just showed them the, you know, kind of after effects, but they had a full shop where they could do whatever they wanted to do. But it was a 390 still, and they had headers on it. So again, I knew it could be done, but what issues am I going to run into? And that's, I have not seen a video on that. So these videos, we're going to kind of go into the issues of headers in the Thunderbird. Now we'll talk about all of them. The worst is this area right here, which I had to grind some of this metal down, and I had to flatten this side of the exhaust a little, and that got me a good little over 1/4 inch clearance. Passenger side, that this, now this was like this on the exhaust manifold. This bolt very, very tight. Not a lot of room to get to it. Well, I can get all of them off with, now that this is nutted on this side, I'd be able to get this off. Not worried about taking these on and off anymore. So now again, these are not installed. This is just a dry fit, no gaskets, one bolt and the guide pins holding it in place. Didn't want to make the same mistake on this side. I don't want to mess up any more gaskets because my driver's side gasket is probably fine, but you can't buy one. You got to buy a set. So I had to buy a set. So I'm supposed to be able to pick that up this afternoon, and hopefully we'll be able to get this installed. But all right, I'm gonna get to work, pull these heavy bastards back out for like the 5th time. So next time is gonna be the last time though. Then we're going back together.